So Heidi, you can begin.
Right. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon and delighted to see the cross-section of programs that are represented here on the webinar today because that is exactly what we're talking about, reaching across our own service silos to work with each other and different service providers for the benefit of our mutual clients, the residents in public housing and the students in adult education programs. So this is what it's all about. It's been a great pleasure to coordinate this webinar. Just the coordination of it has been a cross-silo effort, cross-system effort, and we're delighted to find ways to inform each other's stakeholder groups about the good resources and the opportunities that exist for the benefit of our mutual clients. So I'm delighted to be here and glad that you are all here as well. And I'll turn it over to the presenters.
Okay, thank you, Heidi. This is Gail Cope, and I work with the University of Tennessee. I also work with the Links Region 2 Professional Development Center and serve as a subject matter expert for the Links Program Management community. I will be leading through and introducing speakers as we go through the webinar today. So again, thank you, Heidi, and thanks everybody for joining us today. I'd also like to thank and welcome our presenters. We have Brianna Benner with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. We have Donna Bryan, who is the Links Community Career Pathways subject matter expert and moderator. I just introduced myself. We have Dina Lehman Kim, also with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And we heard from Heidi Silverpakula, the U.S. Department of Education, the Office of Career, Technical, and Adult Education, also known as OCTAE. So we may be using that name as we go through the presentation today. And then finally, a great thank you to the HUD grant service coordinators, and I will introduce them just immediately before they begin their sessions. So thanks, and just to give you a little bit about the overview for today's webinar, we'll be talking about federal grants that are provided by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, of course known as HUD, and also the services that are provided through those funds. We will lead you through the wealth of professional development resources through OCTAE and also through the Links platform. And then we'll conclude with talking about promising practices that emerge from partnerships that Heidi mentioned that are so critical these days. But today we're focusing obviously on public housing authorities and adult education programs at the local level. Okay, and we have a poll here, and we just we learned about who the presenters are, and if you would, we're going to take a poll and want to see where you are. So, so please take a look at the different roles there and select one, just one item that best describes your primary job role. Let's wait a couple of seconds and see how we poll in. So far, it looks like the FSS and Ross service coordinators are coming in strong here. Great. Yes, it is great to see a lot of service coordinators, Yvonne. Okay, just another couple of seconds. Okay, great. Thank you so much, everybody. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and get started with the bulk of the program. For this particular phase of the webinar, we have Brianna Benner, who will talk about the Family Self-Sufficiency Program, and then we'll have Dina Lehman Kim, who will talk about the Resident Opportunity and Self-Sufficiency Program. Brianna, you're going to kick us off?
Hey everyone, this is Brianna Benner. I work at HUD headquarters in Washington, D.C. I am one of the HUD headquarters staff members that works on the Family Self-Sufficiency Program, and I'm going to be doing a brief overview of the program today for those on the call who aren't already familiar with the program. So basically, the FSS program exists to promote economic independence and self-sufficiency amongst families in HUD-assisted housing programs. This is achieved through linking the families with supportive services that they need to achieve their goals, which could include childcare, transportation, education, job training, and more. The program is implemented locally through public housing authorities, PHAs. There are hundreds of PHAs across the country that administer this program. They administer the program in coordination with their program coordinating committees, their PCCs. The PCCs are made up of representatives of local government, service provider, and local businesses. And they also include families from the assisted housing program. So what does the program look like from the family's perspective? A family participating in FSS will have a contract between them and the housing authority, the PHA, that specifies their rights and responsibilities, including that they will no longer be receiving welfare benefits by the end of their participation in the program. Each family member who wishes to participate will get an individualized training and services plan that identifies their services and their goals. And each family will have an interest-bearing escrow account. This is basically a savings account. And the way it works is that in these HUD-assisted housing programs, the rent is based on family's income, on a percentage of the family's income. So if a family's income increases, their rent increases. Families participating in FSS will see an increase in their rent as they earn more wages throughout the program. But that increase in their rent, that's because of their increased earned income, is basically set aside for them in an escrow account, which is a savings account for them. And they have access to it once they graduate from the program. They can also access some funds before they graduate from the program if the PHA agrees to distribute a portion of those funds to complete their goals. For example, a family might have a great job opportunity, but they need a car to get there. So they could possibly receive an interim disbursement of some of those funds they have in their escrow account to be able to help them purchase a used vehicle, for example. And then to be able to get their access to the full escrow at the end of the program, the head of the household must be employed and no family member will be receiving welfare assistance. These are the general rules for the program. So who is participating in this program? I mentioned that there are families in HUD-assisted housing programs. Specifically, they're families in the public housing program and the Housing Choice Voucher Program, which is also known as Section 8. Participation in FSS is voluntary for these families. So if a family is in public housing or on the HCV program, they're not required to participate in FSS. It's just an option. Also, I should note that not every PHA offers the FSS program. So not every public housing resident or HCV family in the country has the option to participate in FSS if, for example, their PHA does not offer the program. So how is this program funded? HUD provides funding that comes from appropriations from Congress each year through an annual Notice of Funding Availability, NOFA. And the NOFA announces funding for the salary and fringe benefits of the program coordinators who are actually administering the program at the PHA. So that's how HUD provides funding for this program. The funding does not provide for the actual services themselves or any training or any other funds for the program. PHAs are expected to leverage other funds to assist with the other components of the program. The HUD FSS funding is just for salaries and benefits for the program coordinators. So that was a general overview of FSS, and if you have more questions about FSS, there are several links here on the page, and you'll have access to this slideshow after the presentation is over, so you'll be able to access these links later. The first gives you a lot of details about the FSS program, and then the second and third bullets here are how you can find out who has been awarded funding recently for the FSS program, so you can identify whether the PHA in your area is likely to be administering FSS. Okay, and now I'm going to turn it over to Dina.
Thanks, Brianna. I had to unmute my phone. All right, I'll take over the slides from here. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for participating. We're very excited about this opportunity to share resources between our two federal agencies and stakeholder groups. The ROS program is similar to FSS, but does have some significant differences. The eligible applicants are PHAs, tribes, resident associations, and nonprofits, so we have a larger applicant pool. The total funding depends every year by what we get from Congress, but generally in the past we've had between $35 and $50 million available, and we base the award amounts on the number of public housing units. Unlike FSS, ROS is only available to residents of public housing, so not the Section 8 voucher holders. The ROS grant will cover the salary and benefits of a service coordinator, and unlike FSS, will also cover administrative costs to run the program and training and travel expenses for the service coordinator. Generally speaking, youth, adults, elderly, disabled residents are all eligible to participate, and we have some grantees that focus sometimes only on elderly disabled residents or only on families, so it can be a mix. The goal is very similar to that of FSS in the sense that we're trying to help residents increase their economic independence and self-sufficiency. In the case of elderly and disabled, we are trying to increase their ability to age in place, and so avoid placement into more costly nursing care facilities. I'm just going to really skip over this slide because I know we want to get to the meat of this presentation. But generally, we announce awards through a notice of funding availability every year. Somebody asked whether this year's ROS NOFA had been published yet. It hasn't, but we expect that it will be soon. The role of the ROS service coordinator is generally to assist residents' needs, provide some case management, coordinate with local service providers, link residents to local service providers, also work with the PCC that Brianna mentioned, the Program Coordinating Committee, or create one if there isn't one already, and of course monitor residents' progress and submit annual reports to HUD. I already talked about this next slide. Let me just go. So we do an annual competition. Grants are for a 3-year period. FSS generally is for a 1-year period. So that's another difference between our two programs. Services like FSS are not funded by ROS. We expect grantees to demonstrate a 25% match, whether cash or in kind, and much of that will come from services provided by local partners, local service organizations. This should say funding for ROS program coordinators is provided through an annual NOFA. Here is a list that you can go back to of recent ROS grantees. This will help you see if you have a grantee in your local area that you could reach out to if you are in the adult education world. And I know our grantees would certainly welcome any kind of additional resources that they can get their hands on. So with that, I will pass it on to Heidi, I think.
No, to Gail.
Oh, sorry, to Gail. Sorry.
That's okay. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Dina and Brianna.
Sure.
For this part of the webinar, Donna Bryan and I will provide an overview of, I will start with the LINCS professional development system and go through the various components. And then Donna will talk more about the career pathways areas and give us a live demo of how you can navigate through to the resources and the communities of practice. For those of you who aren't familiar with LINKS, LINKS is a very comprehensive professional development system that is funded by the U.S. Department of Education, the Office of Career, Technical, and Adult Education. And at this site, you're able to find resources, a lot of professional development opportunities, and network with colleagues through a variety of online forums that we refer to as communities of practice. And it looks like the slide here doesn't show the URL well, but it is, Joe typed it into the chat box, and you can see it there. Not sure what happened. Okay, moving on. We have 4 major components of the LINKS professional development system. We have a resource collection that has high-quality, evidence-based resources in 16 topic areas that have been identified as important to the adult education field. All the resources in that collection undergo a very rigorous review process, so we're ensured that we do get high-quality, up-to-date resources, and before being put in the collection, we have subject matter experts and reviewers who are very knowledgeable in the area. So we feel assured that all the resources there are of the highest quality. We also have an online community of practice, which is an online space where you can join with other colleagues across the country, even across the world. We have several international subscribers as well. In all of those 16 groups, well, there's also 16 communities of practice that correspond with each of the 16 topic areas in the resource collection. In the communities of practice, we currently have over 10,000 subscribers, so we're just very, very excited about that. Another great resource, which is relatively new to the LINKS system, is a learning portal. And this is where we have our online courses. It's great because they're self-paced, and then also there are some facilitated professional development courses as well. And then an area near and dear to my heart are the regional professional development centers. And we work with states in every state across the U.S. to disseminate training and resources to our LINKS partners and practitioners. Okay, there the URL for the LINKS website shows up nicely at the top of the page. And this is just a screenshot of what the homepage for LINKS looks like. And I'll go very briefly through each of these areas and tell you a little more about them. This is a screenshot of the LINKS Learning Portal. And all of these courses are online. They're free. And at this point contains more than 25 interactive courses that are developed specifically for adult educators and those that work with adult learners and related fields. There are 6 different areas. We have courses in adult career pathways, and Donna Bryan will talk a little bit about that in a couple of minutes. We have the English Language Learners University. We have Learning to Achieve courses. Brand new are 2 science courses. Also new is the Technology and Learning course. And then we will have several modules of teaching excellence in adult literacy, and there we use writing and math to demonstrate strategies and techniques that you can use with adult learners. Again, this is a great resource because you're able to take courses on your own schedule and pace them according to your own needs. And after each course, we provide you with a certificate of completion. And so I would encourage everybody to visit this often, as we're always adding new additional courses.
Okay, let's move on and talk about the Links community homepage. The Links community, again, refers to that online space where you are able to subscribe to one or more of 16 different groups within the community. And again, we have more than 10,000 members. Each of the 16 groups are facilitated by subject matter experts in the field. And it's through this community that we're hosting this webinar, for example, and then following the webinar, we'll have a special guest discussion in 2 of the Links community groups. Also through here, we disseminate information about announcements of conferences, professional development opportunities, ideas for collaboration, and just it's a great information exchange, and it's really a very exciting place to jump in and express your concerns and provide information to your colleagues about areas that you have expertise in as well. Again, we have the 16 community groups. This particular slide does not show all 16, but it gives you an idea of some of the topics we have. For example, adult English language learners. We have a group on assessment, one that we'll be focusing on here, the Career Pathways group, college and career standards, disabilities in adult education, and so on. So I encourage you to, after the webinar, if you're not already a subscriber, to go ahead and subscribe to any of the groups that are of interest to you. We also have a lot of face-to-face training as well as online opportunities. And there are 4 regions in the U.S. that correspond to the OCTAE regions. And there is a director of each of those regions. And we work with partners in each of our regions to reach out and assess the needs, professional development-wise, of practitioners in that state. And in fact, we just had a Links national partner meeting, and we had over 110 folks there from all over the U.S., and it was just a really great information exchange. We learned a lot. We had speakers from OCTAE. Cheryl Keenan gave some updates on the adult education forefront at the national level, and it was just a really good gathering. Another great resource that is part of Links and that's funded by OCTAE is America's Literacy Directory. And this website allows you to find local literacy providers in all 50 states and U.S. territories as well. This includes literacy programs for adults that are looking for adult basic education, adult secondary education, computer literacy, and ESL as well. And what you can do is specify how you want to search for a program. You can search within a certain locality of where you're looking for programs. You can search city, zip code, and then you can see here the various educational services that you can also search for: adult basic education, correctional ed, learning disabilities, and so on. And when you do the search, you can get the results mapped out for you, so you can see geographically where those programs are located. And then you can also see that there's a link that gives you driving directions for, okay. You know, use that, and I think it would be of great assistance to all of you in your work. One new initiative that that has come to the fore is the Everyone On initiative, and the objective of this particular initiative is to promote the importance of digital literacy skills and increase access to free computer and internet training classes. And this initiative aims to help the millions of Americans who don't have the digital literacy skills that they need to succeed. And so these sites provide information on and assistance on finding a job, for example, helping their children complete homework, how to utilize electronic medical records. And so you can see here that there are two websites specifically for adult education through this link, everyoneon.org/adulted, and then also a unique site for the Department of Housing and Urban Development. So I encourage you to take a look on there. I was tempted to spend a whole afternoon one time if I had had the time. I was just really amazed at what I saw on there in terms of access and instructions to users on basic computer skills and navigating the internet. So again, I encourage you to see what you can find in those sites. Okay, let's see. And now we get to hear from the FSS and the Ross service coordinators on local implementation of HUD grants. And I'd like to go ahead and introduce the several folks that we have joining us from all across the U.S. First, we have Jenny Grimsley, who is a resident services coordinator with the Housing Authority County of Santa Barbara in Santa Barbara, California. We have Stephen Peacock, who is with the Family Self-Sufficiency Program Resident Services of King County Housing Authority in Seattle, Washington. We have Donna Piper, Executive Director of the Wichita Falls Housing Authority in Wichita Falls, Texas. And then we have Cheryl Rivers, who is Director of Client Services, Houston Housing Authority in Houston, Texas. Okay, we're going to start with Jenny Grimsley.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to join you today and share some information with you. And as said, I'm the Resident Services Coordinator for the Housing Authority of the County of Santa Barbara. And our jurisdiction is about 2,600 square miles, and we have over 33 properties. We operate the Ross program under public housing and the FSS program under the Housing Choice Voucher. And we also offer another one called RSS, which is Resident Self-Sufficiency for Project-Based Voucher Assistance. As a public housing authority, our primary responsibility has always been to provide stabilized housing, which actually aligns with one of HUD's primary goals as well, and grant writers will recognize this goal as item number 3C, which is housing as a platform for improving quality of life and self-sufficiency. And the idea behind that is that once stable and secure housing has been obtained, a family can then begin working towards self-sufficiency goals. This is the primary reason that HUD, in its infinite wisdom, began initiating self-sufficiency programs, or social services, as it were, for housing authorities. And not all housing authorities have the same self-sufficiency programs, or even the same housing assistance programs. However, regardless of your local PHA self-sufficiency programs, the 5 necessary elements that you see on your screen at this time are the same. You need to provide care for child and family, health, education, jobs, and finance. all of those roads are needed in order to achieve success. Multiple partners need to be formed in each of these 5 distinct areas in order to adequately serve the needs of a housing-assisted family. Each milestone will build on the next until at last the family achieves what is known to be self-sufficiency. And hopefully this will move them on into a place in their lives where they become socioeconomically independent and are no longer in need of welfare, food stamps, or housing assistance. Once a family can move off of public assistance and hopefully housing assistance as well, this will free up a slot for another family to again begin receiving assistance and also begin their work toward achieving self-sufficiency. And as I'm sure you are all aware, there are many more families in need out there than there are available resources. Now, how to connect with your local housing authority. If you're unfamiliar with your local housing authority, you can actually go to the HUD.gov website, and right on their home page on the left-hand side, there are several selections. And the last selection is Find My Local Public Housing Authority. If you click on that, you'll receive a screen that allows you to choose your state and your locale and be able to locate where they are, who to contact, possibly email them. Another thing that you can also do is once you have the contact information, you may want to Google that name, because many PHAs these days are moving toward web-based applications and outreach. Our own agency, for example, not only provides information on our agency and our various office locations, but we have also devoted primary pages that are dedicated to all of our resident services programming. That includes applications for applying for our different service programs, brochures, newsletters, bulletins, calendars, partnership links, and so on and so forth. And I'm sure we're not alone in this, as we function in a very highly electronic age in this generation. Another integral component of partnering with a housing authority are the reporting requirements. Whenever you have a self-sufficiency program and/or a grant, each element has its own reporting requirements which must be fulfilled. It is not enough to simply receive and act upon a referral from a housing authority. The partner must also follow up with that client and provide information back to the housing authority regarding the outcome of that referral, be it positive or in some cases negative. Although, of course, we always hope for positive growth and achievement and always strive toward such outcomes. The motto in our agency is, how do you change the world? And we try to do that one family at a time. Thank you all.
Okay, and now we are being joined by Stephen Peacock, who is the Family Self-Sufficiency Coordinator in King County Housing Authority located in Seattle. Thanks, Stephen.
Hi, thanks for letting me kind of be a part of this event, and just to kind of give you sort of a general overview of our program and what we do. Here at the King County Housing Authority, we have about 11,000 housing vouchers, and then we also manage about 3,000 public housing units. And I'm one of 5 FSS coordinators we have on our team here that operates about a 250 participant numbers for our HCV program and about 40 public housing residents as well. And I'll just kind of go through some of the different programs we do and some of the different partnerships that we have that's really helped us kind of build a pretty good FSS program over here. So the first section I want to go through is our sort of our public housing programming that we do. And some of this is related to FSS, and some of this has just been things that we do as an agency that our FSS team has been able to leverage upon too. So one of those things is we operate 3 different career centers at our public housing sites that really do a number of different things. We have partner with community organizations that host their programming on site that does different kind of career pathway programs such as office works, business information technology, and medical kind of medical programming, medical career kind of programming as well. So that's been one thing to kind of connect our program, connect our residents, and connect our kind of program participants into, as well as we have kind of computer labs that people can use at these different sites as well. Kind of next, moving on, is going to be the program coordinating committee that we do, and that's we operate that kind of 4 times a year, and it's really been kind of this really good opportunity to kind of leverage all those different resources that they had kind of spoken about before, whether that's education resources, or we have a couple different, we're just starting to get some different employers and kind of agencies on board with that as well. But that's been really one of our ways of just kind of being out in the community and knowing all the different resources that we can connect our clients to, and we also participate in some of their meetings and their kind of partnerships as well. So really having a good relationship on that end has really helped us through the process to really connect our residents to the right programming though. And then finally, I'll go through kind of what we really see on our end as feeling what the FSS coordinator role is. And so the first is really just keeping our participants up to date on the different services available within the community, because we really see our role as being kind of the information experts and the people who work with clients every day that gives them that opportunity to know the better idea of what's out there and what's available to them. So I have an email list that we're sending out information to them, probably, if not on a weekly basis, then at least probably on a couple times a month, of just letting them different job training events are coming up, education, hiring events, all the different kind of stuff that's kind of continuously kind of pumping information out to people. And then the next part of that is also just really advising clients on what, once they know kind of the information that's available, kind of really being the advocate for them to let them know, kind of helping within that decision making process as well. And then just being able to share experiences that we've had with other clients and kind of just continuously being able to encourage them as well. And I just wanted to share kind of one kind of success story of an example. And so one of the ladies that I'd been working with, she had come onto our program. She had just started an education program, and through our time working together, we had helped her complete her associate's degree in occupational therapy. She's now currently employed as an occupational therapy assistant, and also is now continuing to go to school to complete her bachelor's degree, and will continue along that path. So it's been really nice to be able to work with her, but also a number of other people who are on our program as well. So I definitely look forward to questions and conveying some more information out to everyone though. So.
Okay, Stephen, it looks like that someone has chatted a question into the chat box and wants to know who runs the career centers at King County Housing Authority.
So directly, it ends up being the nonprofit organizations that we work with. So some of them are our local kind of YWCAs and other nonprofits that actually coordinate there, and then we're more kind of just act as kind of the site manager, though. So.
Okay, all right. Yeah, Tammy says thank you. All right, thanks. And now we will move on to Donna Piper. And Donna is the Executive Director at the Wichita Falls Housing Authority in Wichita Falls, Texas. Okay, Donna.
Hey, this is Donna Piper at the Wichita Falls Housing Authority. We are a medium-sized housing authority. We have 624 public housing units. Our Ross and FSS program, we're relatively new. We're strictly public housing. We've only been in operation for about 3 years, but we've developed some really good partnerships. And the ones I'm going to talk about today, we have more than these, but I'm just going to talk about the ones that we're focusing on today, which is education. So let me tell you a little bit about those. We have a Region 9 adult literacy program. Wichita Falls Housing Authority has a computer lab, and so we partnered with Region 9 Adult Literacy, and they've actually come in. They provide the instructors and the classes and the tests, and we provide the space, and they offer GED to our residents and people in the community. We don't restrict it to just the public housing residents. We open it up to the community that we're housed in. And so we have people that can come in and get their GED, and it was such a successful program. And being in Texas, we had a lot of ESL needs, and so we expanded our GED class to include an ESL program in the evenings for people when they get off work. One of the other things that people that we partnered with was the Adult Literacy Council, and the Adult Literacy Council offers adult reading skills for people that aren't quite ready to take the GED or the ESL classes. They help them get prepared reading-wise to go into that next level, which is the GED or ESL if they're missing those things, or if they're just employed but they want to improve their self-sufficiency in their workplace, we help them with their reading skills so that they can get better jobs and move up in their career choices. Maybe they don't need the GED or ESL, so that's a partnership that's been very successful for us. One of the other partnerships that we formed was the Vernon College here in Wichita Falls. Is Vernon Community College, and it's kind of the stage 3 from GED, adult literacy, and then into Vernon College for those people that are wanting to move on and go into a higher career field with education. And so we've offered those, but also it has adult education programs that center around, especially for your Ross people, just area of interest. They offer art classes, reading classes, cooking classes, things like that. So it kind of ties into both our Ross and our FSS program. And then one of the other partnerships that we have, and we've just recently started this one, and it's been really successful for us, is Rolling Plains Management Corporation. They received a grant from CSBG funds to help our parents. It's just a grant to help people become self-sufficient, and it is tied to, say someone's in college and they need gas money to get to and from school. They can help with the gas money. Or if someone is working but needs or is going to get a job but possibly needs some career clothing like work boots or scrubs or things like that, they can help with those things. They help with barriers that keep people from getting a better job or getting a higher education. They can help with utility bills. They can help with rent at times. So this has been a real good partnership for us. GED testing, they can do the cost of the testing if someone needs to have a GED test. So for us, this has been a really good partnership. And then one of the other ones that we have is Child Care Inc. And so that's kind of the one where you have parents that have children and they have the reason, I can't go to school because I have my kids. Well, our partnership with Child Care Inc. helps us they have a place, a resource they can take their kids while they're in that GED or ESL class, and they will watch the kids. The child care facility, we have one on property, and then we have a few that are not on property, but they help funnel those kids around so that the parents can focus on things like education, and so that was a real good partnership with us. I think those are our main partners that focus on education. So if you have any questions on how we formed those partnerships or what's working really well and what's not, you're more than welcome to ask us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Donna. What a great example of those various partnerships, and I think we will have questions for you in the upcoming week as we get into our discussions on the Links community. So thanks again. And now we will hear from Cheryl Rivers, who is Director of Client Services at the Houston Housing Authority in Houston, Texas. Welcome, Cheryl.
Oh, thank you. Hello, everybody. And I want to thank you for an opportunity to present the programs that we're offering here in Houston. The Houston Housing Authority provides quality and affordable housing options to about 17,000 families in our Housing Choice Voucher Program. We also provide services to about 5,500 families who reside in 17 public housing communities as well as 7 tax credit communities. So we have an array of housing options here for our clients. Here in Houston, we utilize a holistic approach, which allows us to kind of coordinate all of the funding that we're getting from grants as well as support that we're getting from local, private, and public partners. We call this holistic comprehensive program our Get Connected program. And this is where we're basically centralizing all of the programs and resources to make them conveniently available to our clients. The programs that we're currently now receiving funding from HUD would be the Family Self-Sufficiency Program for public housing, as well as the Housing Choice Voucher Program and the Raw Service Coordination Program. So now the strategies that we utilize to coordinate all these resources pretty much it consists of about three components. One would be the information and referral centers, similarly referred to by the other presenter as the community centers. This is where we pretty much use technology to link our residents to resources and opportunities and create somewhat of a self-help environment where we can try to get residents encouraged to utilize, to become digital literate and trying to find information and access, services here in the local area. Then we also use a service coordination approach where we have one family self-sufficiency coordinator and 3 service coordinators who provide case management and primarily work on relationship building to help engage residents in various resources and opportunities that are offered within the community. Pretty much the clients provide guidance in identifying and resolving their personal challenges and any crisis that may prevent them from engaging in literacy and economic self-sufficiency. The caseworkers also work to engage our residents in asset development, which is something that's very key here in Houston. We use the Family Self-Sufficiency Program as the foundation to promote asset development as well as in combination with our Section 3 Economic Development Initiative. And this is where we work to help the clients, link them to the resources that they need to increase their earned income and build their wealth as well as proceed in pursuing becoming housing self-sufficient. Now, with coordinating these 3 components, there are various services and resources that are offered to our clients. And some of these key services will be adult literacy and education, which would be the adult basic education, the GED class, as well as the English as a second language class. Then we offer career development, which consists of partners who come in and they do career assessments to try to give the clients some guidance on what it is they want to be when they grow up, in a sense of what you want to be today. And then we counsel them on what would be the appropriate path for them to achieve that career goal. And then we do employment services, which would be, an array of services that provided by partners who do job coaching, job placement, and job retention. And then last but not least would be workforce development. And this is where we engage residents in various job training and apprenticeship programs. Now we're able to do most of our services, through partnerships, and so we work with the Houston Community College, as well as the Lone Star Community College, Texas Southern University, as well as University of Houston, and some other vocational training providers. Then we also work with an array of nonprofit organizations, which one to know would be Gulf Coast Community Service Association, where they provide full scholarships for clients to pursue certification programs that are offered through HCC. And then we have Career and Recovery, Houston Area Urban League, Dress for Success, Career Gear, and others. And then we also work with the local Workforce Solution Board, to help engage our residents in employment opportunities. And then we engage various temporary employment agencies as well as any private employers who can help provide opportunities for our clients. Currently, the Houston Housing Authority has about 65 families participating in its public housing family self-sufficiency program, and we have another 1,800 clients that are being served in the Rouse Service Coordinator Grant, and we have another 550 families who have been served in the Housing Choice Voucher Family Self-Sufficiency Program. If you have any questions, I think my contact information is listed on the slide, and I'd be happy to address any of your questions. And if anyone's looking for, partnership opportunities, we're also looking for additional partners.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. We had a comment from Donna Bryan, who will be joining us in a few minutes. She says, wow, Cheryl, you're doing a lot of partnering there. And indeed you are, so thanks again. Now we will have just a few minutes to hear from Jenny Grimsley and Donna Piper again, who will give a little additional information on, for example, how to get started with a partnership, how to nurture an existing partnership, and how we might collaborate across state and local partners to leverage funds and effectiveness for career pathways in terms of local communities. So, Jenny, I'll hand it over to you.
Oh, thank you very much. I'd like to talk a bit about what a partnership actually is, and it basically forms what we refer to in the Housing Authority community as a Program Coordinating Committee, or PCC. And 6 years ago, when I took over the Resident Services program for our agency, we had 4 definite partners. We had 4. Today we have over 40. And so it's been during the past 6 years that we took the program basically from the ground up, from a completely defunct PCC, and built it into a fully functional PCC that provides services countywide to over 33 different properties under multiple housing programs. So the piece of advice that I can give if you are looking to build your PCC is start with those persons or entities that you know. If you have an engagement with the Girl Scouts or the Boys and Girls Club or a local community college or a healthcare provider or a bank, those people you can reach out and just set a definite schedule. Make it every month, make it every other month, but always use the same date and time. So start small. And the next piece of advice I would give would be to develop an actual PCC mission statement. What is the mission of your program coordinating committee? Put that down on paper and provide that in writing to all of your potential partners. Then you also need to develop what is called a statement of commitment to the PCC. And you provide that to the partners who want to become a member of your PCC. They need to sign it and they need to return it. And that statement tells them what they will be doing and what their responsibilities are as a member of your program coordinating committee. Now, one step beyond that is when you have an official partner, you can also create an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, or Memorandum of Agreement, And in that MOU or MOA, you need to discuss the services, specify the obligations, and commit everything in writing. Another attribute, if you operate as many different properties as we have, which as I said before is at the present time it's 33 properties and expanding, and keep in mind this is a pretty large county, so we have a lot of jurisdictional space here, and in order to incorporate our partnerships, not all resident services staff can be at all these different locations with the multitude of services and activities that are going on at all these different sites and locations. So what we do is we offer kind of like what you would call a turnkey approach. So our MOU actually becomes both an MOU and a site usage agreement, which is a little like a lease, but it's for a partner instead. And in that, all of our different facilities have alarm codes and locks and keys and such. And we issue a key to the executive director or the program coordinator for that partnership. And that person is in charge of that key. And it becomes a turnkey system. We give them their alarm code. We teach them training on how to use the facilities and instructions for what to do when things go wrong. They use their own sign-in sheets, and all of that information then comes back to us. So we use an MOU, MOA, or an MOU, MOA, and site use agreement in order to best facilitate all of these different partners operating in all of these different areas. Another piece of advice is service coordinators out there, never be afraid to toot your own horn. If you do not toot your own horn, no one else will pay attention to you. Once you begin tooting your own horn, that is when you gain the recognition of your executive directors and management personnel and partnerships. And if you have an MOU, MOA, site use agreement in place, you need that signed by your exec, because it does more than one thing. It's a double bonus. It keeps your administrative office completely informed as to how you're growing your program, because they see those partners coming on, and that builds interest from their perspective, and they love to share that information with your board of commissioners. That is a feather in the cap. It's the cherry on top of the sundae, and it is a great way to build. And you can start small with your PCC, but as you grow, your PCC members will advance. They will start talking to their partners, and they will bring in additional partners. And that is literally how we grew our program from 4 partners into over 40 partners in 6 years. And now we can be, I don't want to say picky and choosy, but we get to set the standards by which the participating partners need to come on board with and comply with. So I hope that helps some of you out there in getting started with building partnerships and growing your PCC, because without a PCC, it is very difficult to run a program. Your partners are the ones that are providing those services, and we all know funding is very, very limited. Even with our grants, we don't always have, funds to pay for services. So those dedicated partners are the why and the how that our programs succeed. So hope this information has been of assistance, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you. Donna, do you have some words of wisdom you'd like to share with us, Donna Piper?
Well, was pretty impressive, so I think that's pretty good. With us, it's kind of the same way. One of the things I will encourage you, though, to do when you're out there forming your partnerships is to, when you're talking to your residents and your participants and people that are expressing an interest in your FSS program, find out what their needs are and their interests are, and those are kind of some of your partnerships that you want to form so that you can meet their needs and keep them interested in your program. But pretty much what she said is how we operate ours very successfully. Thank you.
Okay, that's some great information. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
We do have a question that's come up, and I'll pose this for any of the service coordinators. And the question is, how do you as coordinators keep up to date on the community-based organizations in your local communities?
Well, I will say with our resident coordinators here at the Wichita Falls Housing Authority, we sit on a lot of committees where we sit on the Spanish, the Spanish, the Hispanic Coalition, Hispanic Leaders Coalition. We also sit on 211. We sit on, we have partnership with Legal Aid. We sit on their board. We sit on a community health care center board. We sit on a lot of boards and coalitions and community advocate groups that focus on interests and needs of our residents, and that keeps us kind of in the loop in what's going on in our community. We're not as large as Houston and San Antonio and Washington, but so it's easier for us to do that, but that's how we do it. We sit on a lot of communities and partner with a lot of different organizations just to be involved with what's going on.
Okay, thank you.
This is Jenny. I'd like to add to that. Whoa. I hope that wasn't a disturbance across the board. With our PCC, it has expanded to such an area now that our PCC members actually bring us the community news. So we get the bulletins, we get the up-to-date information, and if any of you out there would like to check out our website, you can see a lot of this information. You can just click on the www.hasbarco.org, and right on the front page, you're going to see resident services, and that will link you directly to all of our different information. So there's a lot of information on there. It's broken down by partnerships. It's broken down by bulletins. It's broken down by community events, calendars. Our newsletters are actually written directly by our partners so that we put them together as the resident services staff, but the articles and everything are done by our partners. So it kind of writes itself and then it goes out to everyone. That's primarily how we keep up to date. Plus we have, mailing lists and such with our partners and our different resident clients that are in the programs. And hope that helps.
Okay, it does. Thank you very much. I wish we had time for more questions. One of the things that we wanted to highlight too in ending this webinar is to hear from Donna Bryan, who is the subject matter expert for the Links Career Pathways community, and she will walk us through some resources and other sites on the Links website. So Donna, I open it up to you. Thank you.
Okay, I need the screen which says which screen you're going to see, because I'm going to actually show you my screen and walk you through the link site. Share my screen, okay. Well, it's not giving me the right choices, Brad.
In the meantime, and until that the website gets up, we did have another question about how can adult education programs reach the service coordinators?
I've got some help here who's
Oh, okay.
in the
All right.
meantime,
So,
I wanted to say that I'm going to start with every time that I go back, I'm going to start with the main link site. Can you see my screen now?
yes.
Okay, so every time that I'm going to navigate from the home screen, which is the links.ed.gov, if you look up here, you'll see what the address is. And that's what we were talking about earlier as the main link site. We're going to navigate from this page each time we introduce a new feature. Okay, you notice there are three main sections here: learn, participate, and find. And the main one that we're going to be using for the discussion would be under the community link. It says join the community. So let's go to that. That will take you to the main community page. And you can see that once you're here, there's tabs across the top, and it'll show you the various groups. So if we're going to click on groups, and this will show you a list. You saw this in Gail's presentation, but this will show you the list of the various groups. Here's the Careers Pathways group that I'm the subject matter expert of. And if we scroll on down, you can see what different groups there are. And you can see that here's Gail's group, the Program Management group. Now each one of these, if you click on that, will take you to that group's home page. And you'll see on this one, this is Gail's. You'll see the picture of her over here. And here's a description of what the group does and the kinds of topics that they discuss. And then there'll be an activity stream that shows everything that's happening in there. Let's go back. I'm going to go back to the previous one, and we're going to show you that the Career Pathways is very similar. Just to look at the names of the different groups that there are, if you have an adult that you're working with that has a specific problem or a specific area that you want to find out more about, you can find out more about that from the various groups that are here. For instance, if you have somebody with learning disabilities, you can go into the disabilities and adult education and find information there. If you have somebody who's just been released from prison, you can go into correctional education and find some information there. So we're going to go into Career Pathways. And as you'll see, this is my picture here, you'll see the kinds of topics that we discuss in this group. And one of the things is partnerships. And then from this page, you can go to the various parts. You'll notice that there's discussions, bulletins, documents, all kinds of things like that. We're going to look excuse me, at the discussions tab, because that's where this discussion about this webinar and this partnership that we're trying to develop is going to take place. Okay, in the discussions of this, you can see that Gail has posted one called Making Skills Everyone's Business. So this is going to be a discussion. We'll click on that. I'm going to kind of demonstrate how a discussion works here. This is Gail's, and she went to a meeting and took some notes at the meeting and shared some things with this group. So she has a rather long post here, and then underneath that is a response to that post. Now the person that made this response used this Add New Comment box right here and clicked that Add New Comment box and typed in the message. This is the message he typed in. This is Gabe. He said he would love to know what the first 7 strategies means. And so you go back up here. What he's asking about is this strategy, create joint ownership of solutions. So he asked about that, and that was a direct response to Gail's post here. Now, then somebody made a comment on Gabe's comment, probably an answer, and you'll notice that it's indented a little bit under Gabe. So this post is an answer to Gabe's comment. And then I also made a comment to Gabe's comment. So both of us, when we made these posts, used this reply button, which threaded the the discussion underneath what Gabe had said. Okay? Okay, let's go back. You can see here, this is the one where we started this morning, the Career Pathways for Public Housing Residents. What I want you to do is, once you've joined either the Career Pathways group or Gail's group, then you will automatically get the posts for you will get, well, if you sign up for it, you will get it as an email. But under your discussion in your group, you will automatically have this. So if we go to this one, and you want to respond and get started on this discussion, you would go down here to the bottom where it says add a new comment. You would click on that, and then here you put the subject, which is going to be, if you'll put the same thing, the title of this discussion is Career Pathways for Public Housing Residents, so you can put that same thing. Then type in your message here, and when that comes out, then it will post right under the original post here. And then responses to your post will indent and post under yours. So you can actually ask a question that way and get responses. Yes, leave this page. I'm going to go back to, apparently it's not going to, there we go. Okay, so we're back under discussions again, under Career Pathways. I wanted to show you another post. You can see that there are a lot of posts here, that a lot of discussions that have gone on. They go on for several pages. So the one that I want to show you here is to demonstrate is this one, competency-based programs. Now this is David Rosen, and he's kind of an expert in the field and in a lot of fields of adult education. And he made a long post, and you can see that within his post he has actual links that you can go out and see what he's talking about here. And I made a comment on his post, so mine is directly under that. And then he answered that question with a post, and so his post is indented under my post. And then Finn Miller made a post to this original post, so it's back out in line here. And here's another post to David's original post. And then he answered that post. So that's threaded underneath here. And if somebody responded to David's post here, then it gets threaded under that. See how that works? That's what I want to show you, how this discussion that we're going to have is going to work. Now I'm going to go back, and rather than going under discussions, I want to show you what else we've got under here. A bulletin is a piece that is not as, it's not as it is it's mostly just an announcement or something else that's happening, or it's a link to a resource or something like that. So you can see here's a job announcement that's been posted. The information about the Career Pathways webinar was posted here. There's a different post here about a resource, the condition of education in 2014. It's got a lot of statistics in it. You can go there and get, if you've got statistics that you need to draw or a speech that you're giving about like how many people in this state are considered, not needing more work skills, then you can do that. So that's going to be under the tab for bulletins, those kinds of things. You can see that what's on here. And again, there are several pages of bulletins you can see down here. Okay, I'm going back again. Then on the far right is, this is still under the career pathways, there's a microgroup here. Now a microgroup is a smaller discussion group within the area of career pathways it works the same way as a group as the group of career pathways, except it's just a smaller subset of people that are discussing a particular area. This particular one is youth and adult pathways. So if you click onto that, you'll see that it's got the same kinds of things. Here's the activity stream. You can go to the various discussions that have been on that one. Here, post-secondary and adult education research grant, developing effective bridge programs, various discussions on this. And again, there are more pages. So that's just a small group within the larger group.
Okay, Donna,
Now,
it looks like we're running out. Donna, I'm sorry, it looks like we've run out of time, and I just want to thank you for showing us this. And I know there is a lot that we need to cover, and I think we'll be able to do a lot of that in the discussion that continues after this webinar. And
okay, so
I know you want. Yeah, I know
the main thing I want to say is join.
Yes,
join,
absolutely.
Join and get into the discussion. We hope that this discussion will be a continuation of what the questions that you've been asking here, and that the discussion will help you get in touch with other people that you need to get in touch with, and help us answer questions that need to be answered about how we go about making these partnerships work.
Thank you so much. It looks like our work is cut out for us for the next bit. Before we end with the evaluations, I wanted to give a special thanks to all of our presenters, the folks at HUD and Octave who have supported our work, to the service coordinators, and then finally to Yvonne Chen, who's with Kratos, and we'll now turn it over to her where she'll talk about the evaluation.
Great. So we want to make sure that everyone completes the webinar evaluation. Again, like Gail said, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We hope the information was helpful. Thank you especially to the service coordinators who jumped on at the very last minute to share their experiences, and they will be part of the links discussion after this webinar and throughout the week, so be sure to join the links community like Donna showed you all. We will be sending the link to the evaluation to everyone who registered, so if you don't catch the information here or fill out the evaluation today, we will send it out. Okay, thanks everyone. We will send out the archived webinar to you shortly by the next 2 days. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.